Hey everybody, Dan here for Comic Frontline. We are going to switch it up today and do some indie reviews, okay? So I've been doing the indie haul videos. You're gonna basically see on those what I've been picking up. I give a brief summary about what the books are about. Often I haven't read the books at that point, so I don't really have an in-depth analysis of them. Um, so this we're going to go dig a little deeper. It's going to be a triple double because I've read three titles, two issues each title. So we're going to have a triple review and we will hit two issues of each. Now, first off, I'll say happy anniversary to Comic Frontline because it's 5 years anniversary of Comic Frontline. It's probably about 4.5 year anniversary for myself because I had come in about 6 months after it started. The channel just had a little anniversary show. I left a comment on that because I was out and about. But it was great to make 5 years of Comic Frontline. Um, giving you all your comics news and reviews and general entertainment. So, I will be remiss in not mentioning that I did have a new issue of my own book come out. Okay, Argo 5, number 28. Okay, this is issue 28 of my own book. That is Argo 5 right there, and a beautiful cover by Igio Maya and colors Giuseppe Pica. I had actually inked this cover, so that's why I got a little credit, Igio Maya, and my own name there. Interior story, Ezekiel Aziz. Colors by Dio Lima, who's now one of the top colorists at Marvel, but he had gotten his start here at Argo Comics. So I still have kind of a backlog of issues getting lettered that he had colored. And Francisco Zamora doing our lettering. And he's been doing a great job with that. So, a little glimpse here into Ezekiel Aziz's art, Dio Lima's colors, and Francisco Zamora's letters. Okay, I always try to look for some pages that are not too spoilery. There's a little dinner going on there in Desdon, home of the Maltese gods, Shazrath in the red, his girlfriend Gladiatra in the red and blue. So you get a little more background going on in this issue about some of the personal lives of what's going on with the characters, such as, okay, that's Blue Dynamo. Kind of looking for dates on HeroDate.com, which is a website for superheroes to date in the Argo Comics universe. Beyond the Igio Mia cover here, I do have a variant, a painted cover by Louis Small Jr. Okay, since there's some dating going on in this issue, this is kind of a date night cover, is what I call it, with the team's resident couple there, Shazrath and Gladiatra. And Louis Small Jr., who did the cover, phenomenal artist. I guess was well known primarily for Vampirella, but has done a whole host of comic projects, and his painting is especially of excellence that, I thought to myself, if I can get a painted cover from Lewis, that would really be something. And was able to achieve that. Lewis has had a number of pinups in the Argo Comics publications, and Again, really a fantastic cover. If you go to IndyPlanet, looking for any covers beyond the regular cover, it's kind of like there's a box on the near the price where you can click on to choose uh, standard cover, variant cover, digital. When you choose variant, the preview image on the website will switch to the variant cover. So basically, if you're ordering, where again Argo Comics are available at IndyPlanet, when you order there, you just have to click on again physical or digital, and then standard or variant, and the cover that you're choosing will show up to let you know what it looks like. So they're kind of hidden to some degree, but I guess that makes it all the more rare that people find out about these variants. All right, so that is, again, the latest Argo Comics release. Now, okay, we go on to our first book that I read. Let's get the Scattered Comics is the company. You can see there their logo, Scattered Comics, and Lucha Mystery. Okay, so again, as I said, this is a triple double, so I have 2 issues of Lucha Mystery. This is Lucha Mystery number 1, and here is Lucha Mystery number 2. Okay, so read them both, highly enjoyed both of them. Okay, now Lucha, for people who follow pro wrestling, Lucha is in reference to lucha being wrestling in Mexico. So the Lucha Libre is one of the organizations that have that. Luchador is a Spanish term for wrestler. So, and the luchadors are known to a lot of times be wearing masks, as these 2 heroes are doing in this cover. Okay, Evan Quering is the writer, and he does the art and the letters of this book. Okay, and we have Diego Vasquez doing the colors. Okay, and basically, actually, Jason Dube, the president, or Dubé, the president of Scattered Comics, was doing a video and actually mentioned Comic Frontline because, again, Lucha Mystery was in my haul video, but I hadn't gotten to doing my reviews yet. So they were nice enough to give us a little shout out after the haul video. But again, that was in the haul video, and having read the 2 books, I figured I would go into a bit more of a review. As we know, I like physical books because then I can show you some artwork. Okay, here's actually one of the luchadors doing a moonsault. If anyone's a pro wrestling fan, they'll recognize that this is actually kind of like a stunner almost that he's giving. It's called the Devil's Due. That's this luchador's finishing maneuver. Okay, they are the 2 main characters, but the story pretty much entails a spaceship getting blasted by the U.S. government over a wrestling event, and I believe that some type of otherworldly energy is released, giving these luchadors superhuman abilities. So there's not just these 2, but a whole bunch of them within the promotion. And I thought that was a great angle for the book. So you kind of mixed kind of like pro wrestling in with some science fiction. Uh, in movie terms, it almost brings to mind Grunt, the wrestling movie, which I was very, very into back in the day. It's a little tough to find, but maybe for you people who like to hunt down movies, Grunt, the wrestling movie, doesn't really concentrate on luchadors, but it was just a fun movie. And then combining that maybe with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which the science fiction elements of this kind of reminded me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or even having seen Ed Wood, that type of, I guess they'd call B movies back in the day, that type of science fiction, with actually this character right here on the cover of #2, Queen Rockdora. She's kind of the villain of the piece, and again, she adds some, to me, some like a Rocky Horror feel to her. Let's see. But again, whoops. Yeah, these two wrestlers as your main characters throughout the story. And I think you can see from whatever I've been showing you that the artwork is very well done. Here's where the wrestlers are encountering that spaceship. Artwork is very well done. Colors are very well done. Letters are great. I mean, there's really no point where this issue is lacking. Here's another wrestling maneuver. I think I actually showed this on the whole video, and I couldn't quite remember the name of. I was thinking of the sharpshooter, which the Heart Foundation used. Natalia Neidhart is using it these days, the sharpshooter. But I guess you could also categorize it maybe as a Boston crab. So yeah, I mean, really great artwork and colors throughout. And I think we had this reporter here. She's part of the story as well. Let me just press this button here. All right, so yeah, the reporter, she's part of the story. I think she was supposed to interview some of the wrestlers and got mixed up in all this calamity that's going on. There's actually a character in this. Let me see. One of the zombies. And again, I think this is a Ed Wood reference. Where is he now? Let me find this for you guys. Here's actually an ad. I'm not sure this is actually a movie. Maybe I have to go check out the website. There was an ad, Surf 9 from Outer Space. So again, that's in that, there's the website. That's kind of in that B-movie tone, it seemed. Let's see. I think it's in the second issue, maybe. There's a character in here that is reminiscent, again, back on the first issue, of like, okay, there's, let me just see, the first issue the first panel he appeared really had a likeness that was, I guess that's kind of it right there. Just see, I thought there was a panel where he was a little closer up. This figure here. I've seen that somewhere before. That zombie with the mouth open. And again, maybe you B-movie aficionados are slapping your forehead saying, Dan, how can't you know that guy? It's so-and-so. But I'm just not sure. Again, he's familiar to me, but I couldn't quite put my finger on. I think he kind of shows up here on the splash page. That kind of looks like him again. Splash page. I know he's a zombie character. I think it might have been in that Ed Wood movie. Maybe George the Animal Steel was playing that character a bit. But again, he was familiar to me. I wasn't quite sure. Let's see. Well, I have to say, and here's a again, the wrestlers have very unique and colorful names. So, and sometimes that's the hard part in superhero comics, which this isn't particularly a superhero comic, but sometimes it's a little tough to come up with names that the big two haven't already jumped all over. So, having these luchador names really helps them stand out. And again, you're seeing that some of them are gaining superpowers that kind of are akin to their gimmick. The wrestlers, when they have an act, they call that a gimmick. So this is kind of like a ghost, and now he's becoming, to some degree, a real ghost. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure what each of the names are, and I don't want to give away all the characters. But again, the story. Oh, here maybe he's even on the cover here. That dude that I'm talking about. Waiting for the camera to focus on it. Not really getting it. But like I said, the story is engaging. You kind of want to know what's going to happen next, which is important in a indie comic. That you hook the people in, not just with good artwork, which it does have, but a engaging story. So I will give Lucha Mystery a high recommendation. Again, both issues are available at IndyPlanet. Okay, these are all IndyPlanet books, my own books, the books that I'm reviewing here. So if you pop over to IndyPlanet, you can save combined shipping by ordering a number of these if you like. Some of them, such as this one, I would recommend just going from the beginning. Usually, if you're on IndyPlanet and there's a publisher who has had a number of titles, again under that price box, and where you can select also print or digital or whatever, toward the bottom on the right hand side, sometimes there's a publisher bar sitting there where you can see what other books that publisher has published. So usually you can click on that, and this is Furious Monkeyfist is the name of this company that puts out the full Horsefemmes, okay, which I've gotten every issue of. Okay, we're up to issue 14 and 15. Okay, if you've watched my indie hauls, you've always seen this book up there. So I would believe that if you go to any listing for the Four Horsefemmes, you'd be able to scroll down a little bit on the right, and there would be a Furious Monkeyfist bar where you'd be able to hit, and it would take you to the listings of all of their products that they've put out so far. So, again, Four Horsefemmes, okay, Furious Monkeyfist, there's the banner again. It's from creators Actually, it's not from Creators United, but that is uh, a group on the net that the creator of this book, Stuart Black, and myself were both part of that Facebook group. Um, let's see. So I had we just actually released a calendar as well, which has a lot of Stuart's artwork in it. And I must have put that aside at the moment. Let's see. Oh, maybe I have it right here. Hold on. Yep, I do. All right. Okay, it's the Creators United calendar. Okay, I'm a little out of order in this one, but that's Stuart Black's cover right there. And you can see where it says featuring a bunch of, that's Argo 5, the Four Horsefemmes, you know, and Scar, El Gato Negro, the Mighty Andromeda. So these are all characters that appear in this calendar. See, so here's a month on the calendar. Stuart Black's artwork. There's not just Stuart's, but there's a number of other artists in here. But Stuart was kind enough to take shoulder a lot of the getting the artwork done for this. He has Richard Dominguez, El Gato Negro, arm wrestling my own Chain Reaction with Casero of Argo 5 cheering on Chain Reaction, Mighty Andromeda from John Arujo, cheering on El Gato Negro, a bunch of other indie characters. In the back, it's all about supporting the indies by indie. See that? So this calendar is available on Lulu. We do have links in the Creators United website as well as my own Facebook page for the calendar, which you can purchase through Lulu. But again, Stuart Black, who orchestrated that calendar, it's like our fifth calendar. So we've been doing it for a whole bunch of years. But he is the creator of the Four Horsefemmes. I mean, he does it all: writing, colors, letters, the whole kit and caboodle, as they say. Okay, this is the conclusion of a multi-part story about an invasion, a Martian invasion. They do end up going off-world to Mars to battle not only the Martian dictator, his son. There's a lot of twists and turns throughout the story. Stuart he does fantastic art. I really love it. Again, it's not a mainstream style. It is, actually, I have Bill Mouse doing Sorority of Power. There's little elements, I would say, of like a Bill Mouse style. I mean, it's really kind of hard to compare because Stewart actually has his own style. But, you know, in searching for like trying to think of who I might think of, I guess I'd go towards that, but combined almost with like a Sunday newspaper cartoonist style to it. So it's not like a pure what you'd see as mainstream comics, but kind of a mixing of styles too. I can't think of a particular newspaper strip that I would count as an influence, but it's definitely like again a bit different from your normal styles. And again, I'm just trying to look over here to make sure we get nothing too spoilery. But Stuart's art and colors are something I really enjoy. Let's see. There's a pretty cool panel there. Okay, so basically, again, this was again Invasion Part 9. So this becomes Invasion Part 10, the 15th issue. So 15 issues, pretty good for a indie comic there. And this actually involved a beautiful wraparound cover. And actually, within the story, I had actually made mention to Stuart how much I liked some of the character redesigns that he had come up with for their off-world adventure. Seems like towards the end they go back to their original costumes. But again, let's get something not too spoily. Actually, I'll make mention that Stuart Black has a Patreon, okay? Whoops. Let me move this cup here so I can show that. Yep. Patreon. That's not showing up because of the lighting. Stuart Black. You are getting to see some more of his artwork, though. Awesome as it is. There's my finger in the way. Okay, that's a pretty cool page right there. But you can also, as I said, go to Patreon and support Stuart there. All right. So, again, there's a lot of character development throughout this. The powers of the characters aren't like super standard. So he's come up with some very unique characters, unique personalities for those characters. There's a healthy dose of humor throughout the book. And it's not your typical fare. So you're not going to be like, oh, he's rehashing some story that you've seen again from the big two, which I think is the most important thing in an independent comic, is to try to give a different flavor. I'll show the back cover again. Different flavor for those who, don't always want to see a rehashing and want to see a more individual voice in their comics, which is why many search out the indies. But again, 4 Horsefemmes and available through IndyPlanet.com. The last book, again, I read the 2 issues. I had them on the haul. The Consortium. Okay, Consortium. Okay, B Brother Comics. Okay, B Brother Comics stands for the 2 creators involved in this, Terrence Baker, James Bethel. So those are the B's right there. So they split the art chores within the book. Okay. That's Captain Defender and Z Lunar, 2 of the more powerful members of each team that's involved. I'm getting the sense that the Consortium may be the combination of the 2 super teams, one from each creator, that occurs in this storyline. Because at first, one of the heroes is kind of set up to make it look like, I guess he had turned over some villains to police custody. Those villains ended up being dead. The news reports said that they were dead when they were turned over to the police. Okay, Cetro, that was the name of the hero that was framed. He was part of Terrence Baker's superhero team, along with Captain Defender. So Cetra is kind of set up. And then Z Lunar's team, which is owned by James Bethel, they're going to kind of go after the other team to kind of bring Cetra to justice. So then the teams are at odds, which is why they're duking it out on the cover. Okay? Now, not a member of Terrence Baker's, this is issue 2, not a member of his team, but making guest appearance is Terrence Baker's popular hero, Pink Hammer. Okay? So she's been in her own book. And again, when you go to these books, I believe you'll be able to click on a link and get, Terrence usually goes under Baker Comics, and I believe that's the link that'll appear with a whole bunch of other books. And let's see, actually, they have a bunch of these characters on the back cover as well. There's Pink Hammer in the foreground and a bunch of the other characters in the background. Now, the art style on this one, again, is not your average comic book art style. I would say it is much more raw. There's a lot of energy to it. In the fact that, let's say, Jack Kirby wasn't always trying to put out something too slick. He was more concerned with the energy of the story. And here is, I believe that's Terrence Baker's artwork. Okay, James, because I can kind of distinguish James Bethel's style from Terrence Baker's style. I believe this is Bethel's artwork right there. Okay, I believe that's Captain Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken. Captain Jamaica is being the leader of the other team. Even though Z Lunar seems to be the most powerful, Captain Jamaica seems to be the leader of the other team. Let's see. And again, try not to go too spoilery. The teams do end up at odds. This is a good one to show you the members of. Okay, and I like these indie characters. Again, they're not really too much of just of a copy of other characters. They're kind of unique designs. Those are Terrence Baker's characters. Here you can see, okay, it's still Terrence Baker art, but that's him doing James Bethel's characters. Okay, so again, you have them at odds in the first issue, and okay, there's kind of a resolution where now they're going to try to see what was up with that frame job with the second issue. You can see again just a whole plethora of cool indie looking characters. And again, as with my mentioning of some of the other books, you do kind of want to see what's going to happen next. Okay, it's kind of a book that I didn't really want to put down. I wanted to keep going and see, okay, how's this going to resolve? Here's one of the villains of this story right there. Kind of like a witch doctor type of character. I mean, with all these indie books, I'm a little on overload as far as all the names are concerned. But he was a cool villain, being somewhat of a puppet master behind the scenes and kind of having some cool female henchmen characters that were played very well. I mean, the characters are very well utilized in this book. Let's see. And then towards the end of this issue in particular, there seemed to be a lot of other characters that were introduced, and I'm not sure which ones belonging to Terrence Baker, which ones belong to James Bethel, but you start seeing a whole bunch of other heroes kind of showing up. I'm not showing the full page. Okay, but I guess this is a kind of a way to introduce you to a whole bunch of other interesting characters. Dr. Faded was actually the villain's name. This seems to be a little James Bethel's Dr. Faded, so he's kind of the villain. Even though the mask looked a little different within the story, that's kind of the villain of the story. And again, I really enjoyed the character interactions. The whole plot of the book didn't seem contrived really from some other story. I just enjoyed the book. Again, the artwork is a little more raw, a little more unpolished in certain aspects, but again, just has a nice energy to it. Let's see if I can show just one more thing. Again, don't really want to get too spoilery with it. Here's some cool other characters that show up towards the end. Beta. Does her name show up here? Oh. Okay. Aquasha, I'm going to go with. Aquasha, because T-I-A. Unless it's Aquatia, but I'm going to go with Aquasha. Aquatia, maybe. Okay, so we just have some cool, introduced to a whole bunch of cool indie characters. Will they show up in Consortium number 3? That I do not know. But I will be picking it up to find out. So again, Consortium, that's over at IndyPlanet. So my whole thing is, I do support Kickstarters, everything like that. But I like to support a number of creators, and if they are on IndyPlanet, then I'm not, doing separate. The books are affordable to begin with. You're going to get them because if they're listed on IndyPlanet has all the files to print up a copy and send it to you. And also by the fact that I could support a whole bunch of indie creators and combined shipping so that I'm not paying this guy, $5 to send me his book, this guy $8 to send me his book. That's what I really love on IndyPlanet. I kind of make like a monthly purchase just about. I let things kind of, since I'm always there looking at the new books, kind of just let it stock up in my shopping cart for a little while. And then when the time comes that I have a good number of books, I just hit that order button. And again, I keep coming back. My shopping cart, as long as you have an account there, your shopping cart will still hold the books from your last visit. So, let's say I build up to 10 or 12 books and then make the order, get them in hand. We do our little indie haul videos to show you all these great indie books. And then, again, eventually, if I have the time, we do some reviews like we did today. And I hope that you've enjoyed them. Okay. Once again, we got a Lucha Mystery. We had the 4 Horsefemmes. And we had the Consortium. Once again, I had my own release, which I can't do a review of, but Argo 5, number 28. 29 is already over there at IndyPlanet, so it's just a matter of me getting it listed up there for sale. And, well, that'll do it for this indie review. I'll be back with another indie haul very soon because they've loaded up since the last indie haul. So I'll have that coming to you. Once again, 5 years, Comic Frontline. Be sure to join us for the next 5. I'm sure they'll be highly interesting and entertaining. And you can go over to my own channel, Argo Comics, ARGO Comics. I have a website, argocomics.com. Check us out on Facebook, and we'll see you on the next video.